everyone, it's Shannon and welcome to my channel, The Daily DIYer. I had so much fun at Dollar Tree shopping for tons of flip-flops to bring you today's video. Of course, these are only $1. You can find these at other stores too for only $1. I have several different hacks I want to share with you, and the first one is a wreath. So I feel like this is probably the most typical way to decorate with flip-flops, but maybe you've never learned how to actually make one. So I'm going to share with you how to do that today. I have a 8-inch size wreath from Walmart, but you can also cut apart one of these smaller wreath forms from Dollar Tree and use that outside rim instead, and that works too. I also have tons of hot glue and 6 pairs of Dollar Tree flip-flops. I'm just arranging them in a X or a cross shape type pattern and meeting them so they touch in the middle, and also setting my wreath form around so they don't touch those little rubber pieces that help the straps stay in place. And then I used tons of hot glue here. So I added lots of it underneath those rubber buttons and then worked my wreath into that hot glue. It helps if you let the hot glue dry just a little bit too, and then kind of wiggle it in there, and that'll give it a nice base for it to adhere. So I pressed it down until it dried really well. I'm also going to be using some heavy duty duct tape from Dollar Tree too. This is going to help reinforce it. I added this before that glue set up and dried all the way, so it also adhere onto the back of the tape, and then it attached the wreath onto the back of those flip-flops. And now we're going to flip over our wreath so it's right side up and start arranging the other flip-flops into the open section. So I had 3 different colors, so I kind of did a pattern of blue, teal, pink all the way around, so it'd have kind of a symmetrical look. I added those teal ones in first and then filled in the gaps with the pink ones, again using hot glue to secure everything together. And now we're going to flip this wreath upside down one more time so we can add tons of the duct tape onto the back again. I'm actually not just attaching the wreath onto the back of the flip-flops, but I'm also going to put some around the edges so I can attach the flip-flops onto the one next to it. And then to hang it, I just added a piece of ribbon onto that wire wreath in the back and hung it from a command strip on my she shed door. You can find so many different colors and patterns of flip-flops. This would be such an easy thing to really customize to match your patio or porch decor. And also you could add ribbon and even flowers to this to really personalize it too. And now let's take some flip-flops to the next level. We're also going to be needing some of this super glue. It's called Fix All Adhesive from Dollar Tree. At the bottom, it even shows that it works great for rubber and shows a shoe. So this is going to work perfect for this project. This is a great way to customize a pair of flip-flops so they are unique and special just for you. We are starting by cutting off the straps on the first set of flip-flops. And now to get that layered look, I am breaking out my Fix All adhesive, and the lid actually has a little poker on the flip side, so you flip it over and then you can twist it into the tube and it will open up that adhesive for you so you can start using it. I am globbing this adhesive onto the top side of the flip-flop, making sure to kind of leave mounds so it will adhere and attach onto the other flip-flop here in just a second. Also making sure to go all the way around the edges. We definitely want those edges nice and sealed. And the second flip-flop, we're going to do the same thing too, making sure to get it all the way around the edges and glob it, but we're going to let this sit for 10 minutes before attaching our flip-flops together. It needs that time to kind of cure a little bit and harden a little bit so that it will attach onto that second piece. I'm also using some of these clips that are from Dollar Tree. I believe they were in the spring decor or the spring gardening section. I think they're for plants, but I had grabbed them back in the spring, so they would come in handy for things like this. So I put a couple of these around to make sure they would keep my flip-flops nice and tight and together. I did the same thing with the second flip-flop, but if you have a heavy set of books, that would definitely probably work even better. I didn't have any on hand in my crafting area, but then they sit for about 24 hours and you have a custom pair of flip-flops. You can see my back one. I need to go back and add some more adhesive to, so make sure you get those edges really well or else you'll have that problem. But otherwise, these are super cute and fun. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to add some heat transfer vinyl onto flip-flops. Yes, you can even do that. So I have some heat transfer vinyl that you can even find on Amazon. I'll link the kind that I use down in the description box below. I'm also using my Cricut mini press, but you can use an iron for this too. And I just cut out initials with my Cricut machine onto the HTV so I can personalize my flip-flops. This is cute for kids and adults. So what I'm doing here is just weeding out the extra HTV that I do not want ironed on. You can see here I just did an initial, a letter S, and we cut this backwards. Make sure to always mirror your HTV when you're cutting it because we're going to flip it over so we can iron it on right side up. So I cut these apart, and then my mini press, I have it set on the lowest settings. There's like 3 little waves on there. I'm pretty sure the first one is probably low, and then there's medium and high. I set mine on low. I did not want to melt my flip-flops. So we're gonna take this slow and easy. I'm basically just putting my HTV initial onto the bottom of the flip-flop, or really it's the top of the flip-flop, adding a flour sack towel onto the top of that, and then making sure to move around my mini press as I counted to about 30 to make sure it was definitely stuck down on there. It did a really good job. So I repeated that step and that process with the second flip-flop. These would be so cute if you did monograms for maybe a wedding or put bride, or there's so many different ways, but I thought these were cute for kiddos too with the rainbows. And once they were completely cooled off and cooled to the touch, I was able to come back in with just removing that plastic carrier sheet and revealing my finished personalized flip-flops. I would love to hear how you would personalize your flip-flops, whether you would make them completely custom with a design, adding monograms, or even sayings. You can leave those down in the comments below for me. I would love to hear all of your ideas. And now we're gonna make a flip-flop banner, and these cute flip-flops from Dollar Tree had the cutest little popsicles on them, so I took that idea and kind of ran with it, so it just wasn't a banner full of flip-flops. We're gonna make little popsicles. So I grabbed out my popsicle sticks. These are little raised dot stickers from Dollar Tree, along with some stiff felt in the colors that matched the flip-flops. So I grabbed out one of my flip-flops to kind of use as a guide for sizing. I wanted my popsicles to be about the same height as well as the same width as the flip-flop, so it all look kind of symmetrical once it was all hung up next to each other. So once I had a rectangle cut, I made a curve at the top like a popsicle would, and then cut it down to size, and then added a popsicle stick to the bottom to look like a popsicle. I thought this was super cute, and this is such an easy thing to do. I did cut out a few of these, and depending on the size of your banner, you may need to cut out more. I only ended up needing 2 each of these. I'm going to show you another style of popsicle here shortly, but I'm just using hot glue to add some popsicle sticks to the back side of each of the felt pieces, and then popped on a few of the 3D dome stickers onto the front. Now on the flip-flops, there was also a double popsicle, so I wanted to kind of mimic those, and I used my first popsicle as a sizing guide, folded this in half to find the middle, and then cut out 2 domes on the top of these popsicles. So I'm going to be adding 2 popsicle sticks to the bottom of these, and I didn't have any ribbon, or I wish I would have had some rickrack to add to kind of give it those wavy lines like the flip-flops had, but I just used what I had, which was some more thick felt, and cut some ripple looking frosting or decorative wavy pieces and hot glued those onto the front. And now it's time to put our banner together. I like to put them together while they're on the mantle so I know exactly how long it needs to be, and also it makes it more centered that way. So I'm just using some white yarn that I strung across nails that are on the front of my mantle, and then wrap the yarn around the buttons in the back of the flip-flops, and then hot glued the popsicles into place behind it using a scrap piece of felt sandwiched between the popsicle, the yarn, and then that scrap piece of felt. So of course this would be so cute to decorate with during the summertime, but I also think it would be so adorable for a ice cream party, popsicle party, pool party, or even a birthday party. Lots of great ways to utilize that. And next we're going to make sort of a fan-shaped decorative piece using 3 pairs of these patriotic flip-flops from Dollar Tree. I'm actually not using one of the flip-flops, I'm only using 5 so I can get that sort of patterned look. And once I had the pattern that I wanted, I flipped them upside down. We're going to be using some of these paint stir sticks, which I'll link down below. I get them from Amazon, on the back to help hold them all together, using some hot glue too. And now some of them I did have to cut in half or a little bit shorter so I could fit those in so I'd have a good base. I'm using my miter shears for this, and I'll link those down below too. You can find those on Amazon. They're great to have in your craft stash because they're perfect for cutting wood things like popsicle sticks and dowel rods too. So once I had that all finished, then I was able to add on my stickers. I just added USA onto those middle 3 flip-flops. Now I didn't want those stickers to come off, so I'm using some matte Mod Podge and just going over those stickers with that to seal them to the flip-flops. Now this may be my favorite hack of this whole video because it is so practical and I can appreciate practical projects. You only need 1 flip-flop unless you want to make a ton, then of course grab some more flip-flops to have on hand. But what I'm doing is going to make a coaster out of this pair, and I love cheetah print, so I'm keeping this one around for sure. And what I'm doing is just removing the back 2 straps, and then this jar is from Dollar Tree. It seemed to be the right size circle that I needed to cut out the shape that I needed, so I put that right over the toe strap and then used a pencil to go around and mark my circle. I'm going to be cutting this circle out with a pair of scissors. And now that we have our circle cut, we need to reattach our straps. So I have a screwdriver where I can just kind of push into the foam to make a new hole. And then what I found a good tip is to actually cut your strap at a point or a triangle so you can feed that into your new hole. It's also helpful to have a pair of pliers on hand so that way you can pull those straps down into those new holes, because it is pretty snug, but that is definitely what you want because you don't want your straps just easily coming back out. So once I had both of those straps pulled to the back side or the underside of the flip-flop, I flipped it over once those straps were tight but not too tight, and snipped off all of the excess and pretty much made it flush with the bottom. And then again, I am using my Fix All adhesive and adding some of that to the back side of the straps. That is going to give it a more permanent attachment. So So depending on whatever type of drink you may be having on your patio or poolside or beachside, this is a great little accessory to have on hand. I just cut a little lemon, added it to a glass. You can see here this flip-flop or coaster now is permanently attached to this stemware, so that way you kind of have a built-in coaster, and it also protects the bottom of your glass. This is a really inexpensive and easy way to make your own custom stamps, whether it's for you or for kiddos. We're going to be using the base of your flip-flop. We do not need the straps here, so again, I am cutting those off. You can use new flip-flops for this, or this would be a really great way to also recycle old flip-flops that maybe don't fit anymore or are worn out. And what I'm doing is just drawing some simple shapes onto the flip-flops and then using some scissors to cut it out. What I really like about this is that both sides of your flip-flop have two different patterns. So the tops have that polka dot pattern and the bottom side has more of a stripe pattern. So you almost get two stamps in one too. So here are my cute little stamps, and I'm using some acrylic paint to stamp with, but you could even use tempera paint if you're doing this with kiddos, which is washable and a little bit more kid friendly. So here I just wanted to demonstrate what some of these patterns look like and my shapes look like once you stamp them, but you could also use fabric paint and make your own t-shirts. You could make your own cards. You could make your own wrapping paper. So you can get so creative with this idea. I would love to hear which one of these flip-flop hacks was your favorite. You can leave those down in the comments below for me. And if you're looking for ways to hack some terracotta pots, I'll have that video popping up on your screen that you can check out next. I want to thank you all so much for watching today. Subscribe if you are new, and I will see you in the next one. Happy crafting!